Welcome to this very special episode of the Driveway Podcast. My name's Elliot Haney, video producer here, and I'm joined with my great friend, my great colleague, Matt Smith, deputy editor.
It's great to be here, buddy.
Great to be here.
Big day.
Big day.
Big month.
Big month.
Toyota, they've been on one.
You're jumping. I'll tell you what, Toyota, Lexus, they're both the same company. I want to tell you something.
Okay,
To kick off the episode. I want to congratulate you.
Oh.
Because you, as of this morning, have the first ever editorial video to hit 1 million views.
Hit the button.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My agent will call your people.
It's funny because for a while, we each had a video that was kind of going neck and neck, like a little bit here, a little bit there. You have overtaken me. Mine is still at 750. Yours is at 1 million. Wow, what a day.
Well, and our audience, our lovely audience, you people,
All of you. Thank you.
they like Toyotas because this is not, the Lexus, it's a Lexus LS short, YouTube short. Head to the YouTube channel if you're not there already.
It'll be there.
It's doing gangbusters. But right behind it, for the longest time, we had a Tacoma video.
That is number 3. So you are number 1 and 3. I'm number 2 and 4.
Wow.
But both 1 and 3 are Lexus Toyota products. So Lexus ES, and then number 3 is the Tacoma, which we got a Toyota friendly base here.
We do.
Which is good because, as you alluded to, Toyota's had a big month.
Big month.
Big month, and we're going to talk all about it. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and get into this.
They go up, they go down, they go up.
They're going to stay up because we're getting to work here. So we're going to be talking about Toyota and their big month. Would you say this is Toyota's biggest month ever? They've had some big months, but this feels like a lot of announcements.
It's not a Toyota half marathon. It's not a half Toyota-thon. We're doing a full Toyota-thon.
Oh, I love that. Hopefully that's not a New England thing.
No.
That's an everywhere thing?
Oh, it's got to be.
Toyota-thon? Okay.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments.
Let us know. So I want to say right off the top, we're going to talk about a lot of cars, and we're about to run through what Toyota announced, what they're releasing. I want to say if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, you can use the chapters below. Jump to the car that you care about. If you don't care about X car, jump ahead to the next one. And if you're listening on audio versions, in the show notes, you're going to have a table of contents there too. Just a note, or hang out with us the whole time and just see what we get up to. Right?
I'm sure we'll be very well behaved.
There's only 2 of us. We have no supervision. We can go wild.
They let us loose.
We waited until people were out, and then we decided to jump on the horn. So today, you're hearing this a day or 2 later, but this is May 21st. Yesterday, May 20th, was the end of Toyota's announcements. But we're going to start.
Well, so far.
Who
That's
knows?
true.
That's true.
It's a big company.
We're going to start with May 1st. So all through May, couple days, there's been an announcement, then another announcement. What we're going to talk about today, May 1st, Toyota announced the Camry Nightshade Edition. Big deal. Big deal. May 6th, they came back with the Corolla Hatchback FX trim.
I really like that.
I do too. I can't wait to talk about it. May 8th, the day before my birthday, they refreshed the Corolla Cross and the Corolla Cross Hybrid. Mm-hmm. Also,
in need.
I think they did a good job. Okay, those are the kind of the smaller things. Then we get to the bigger news.
Yeah.
May 13th, they announced the new Solterra sibling, now called the BZ. We'll get into it. May 14th, a day later, they announced the new EV, the CHR.
CHR is back.
CHR is back in a new form. And then May 15th, so 3 days in a row, they announced the BZ Woodland SUV.
Yes. I've dressed myself today in honor of the BZ Woodland.
Yes, you have. And you know what? You're doing a fine job.
Thank you.
At it, at representing the BZ Woodland. But the big news I referenced was May 20th. For us, it was yesterday. They announced the 2026 Toyota RAV4.
Now, the RAV4, that's
big deal.
That seems like a familiar nameplate to me. Should I know that one?
You probably know it well.
Okay. Yeah. They sell a few?
They sell a couple of them.
Okay. Yeah.
In researching this episode, which we do, found out that 2024 was the first year ever that the RAV4 dethroned the Ford F-Series as the highest.
Ford F-150.
I thought it was F-Series.
Ah, see, this is...
Thank you. Thank you.
Elliot put in the notes here. We do the work. He puts in the notes, Toyota RAV4, dethroned, best-selling vehicle in the United States, or maybe worldwide. Might be, is that worldwide?
I have both sets of stats. So, and it does say, you are correct, it does say Ford F-150. You're right, not F-Series. This, in 2024, the RAV4 sold 475,000 units. The F-150, 460,000 units. I can round up to 461. First year that's happened.
Yeah. Well, and so Ford likes to package the sales figures of the F-150 with the 250, 350, maybe even the 450
Hence
in there.
the F-Series.
Right. And that's why you always see like Ford F-150 or F-Series best-selling vehicle for the past 900 years.
And that, I guess, would still be true.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah. Well, it has to be.
I don't see I guess Silverado's down there in the 5th position. Silverado 1500 with about 344,000.
Yeah. And in number 3 position, I think is notable, the CRV with 402,000 units.
And I think there's going to be a strong tie with this new RAV4 and our current iteration of the CRV. I'm curious to see how some of these tweaks that have happened for 26, how they're going to affect that battle between the two of them.
I am going to be honest. I'm a big fan of the CRV.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what happens. So you mentioned worldwide. I do have worldwide notes. The number 1 best-selling car in the world in 2024, Tesla Model Y.
Oh.
Apparently,
congratulations,
apparently
Tesla.
It's huge in China. It's the biggest, they sell like 400,000 just in China.
Yeah. It's very popular.
Very popular.
It's not bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't know. Could be smaller.
I think it's probably the same.
It's probably the
about the same.
The Toyota Corolla, number 2. So Toyota does show up pretty early. But number 3 worldwide is the RAV4.
Wow.
So this is an important vehicle for Toyota.
Yeah, not just us. Not just America. This is a worldwide news broadcast that we're doing right now.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we have some listeners not in the U.S.
Oh, yeah?
It's a small percentage.
Well, hello, Philippines.
Hello, Canada. There was one from Estonia.
Well, we know who the guy from Canada is.
I have an idea. But if you're from Estonia, say hi. I want to know who you are. Okay, so that is Toyota.
Well, that's just the start of Toyota.
Sorry, I meant to say that is the RAV4. So yeah, RAV4.
We got to start there.
We got to start at the RAV4.
Right,
so we're gonna go in reverse order of. I think they kind of saved the best for last. We're gonna do best first. Not that any of them aren't the best, but we're gonna go most.
The biggest sales volume first.
Yeah, most important first. So we're gonna talk about the RAV4 for a little bit. We're gonna speak to it. By the time you listen to this, we should have a video on CarGurus.com and the YouTube channel with Mark Takahashi walking around the RAV4, showing it to you, talking it out. So if you want to see actually in person, go check that out. And if you're watching this on video, you're probably seeing it right here.
Yeah, we'll get some photos up here.
Yeah.
Let's
go into it. So
what do you think? Tell me about the looks. What do you think?
I should say in New England, the only cars you ever see, and this is sarcasm, Subaru Forester, Toyota RAV4.
Yeah.
That's it. And some F-150s.
That's about it, though.
But mostly the RAV4 and the Forester.
3 cars here. Just 3 cars.
That's all you see. Mm-hmm. So I'm very familiar with the previous gen. What is it? 5th gen? This new one is the 6th gen.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm making
you
think
been
of your feet.
So many.
I believe this is the new 6th gen. Matt will correct me if that's not true.
I'm going to look it up right now.
But the 5th gen RAV4, the outgoing generation, incredibly common. You see it everywhere. I think it's a good looking car on the outside. I actually think it still looks pretty fresh, pretty modern. I'm not a huge fan of the inside.
Oh.
Personally.
Okay. Well, see, the inside, I think the outside is it's an evolution of the RAV4 we have now, which we've seen before. You know, the 5th gen, you're right. So we're currently on the 6th gen. The 5th gen RAV4 was a revolution, totally different look. It took something that was almost like European meets Japan design, and it made it much more American looking. This keeps more of that blocky, like integrated chunkiness. It keeps a lot of that.
Yeah.
But it just tweaks it
here
and there.
I think so. The profiles, I think, read pretty similar.
Very similar.
I think the old it's still current, but the soon to be outdated RAV4 and the upcoming 6th gen, the profiles look very similar. But like you said, I think the big changes are the front and the back. That's fairly common.
Well, and we should do the trim lineup real quick. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these things. Whew. Okay, so but
they make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, you can kind of divide them up, right? So you have the core RAV4 grades. Those are the LE, the XLE, and the Limited. all available with a hybrid powertrain, front wheel drive,
Sorry,
four-wheel.
we should mention the biggest news.
Oh, yeah.
The big headline.
All hybrid, baby.
All hybrid.
Yeah. Hybrid or plug-in hybrid, but no more gas only.
Absolutely.
And that's, we talked about the Honda CR-V situation. This is going to impact its competitiveness with that because it's gonna be more expensive. And like a new generation's always more expensive, but I think we're gonna see
jumping up a lot, though.
$3,000, $4,000, maybe $5,000 price increase on those base LE models because it's not a gas engine that Toyota's been shipping for bajillion years.
Right. They're following the Camry model.
Yeah, exactly.
Which went all hybrid. There is no gas, only Camry.
Yeah. So we have in those kind of core hybrid models, you have the LE, the XLE, the Limited.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sport design sort of grade, which is the SE.
Spicy.
We've had an SE before, the XSE, and new for 2026, a GR Sport. So Gazoo Racing is their sport division, makes like the Supra and the GR Corolla, the 86. Well, now it makes a compact crossover too.
I do have a question.
Why not?
So the GR Sport.
Yeah.
Versus the GR, for example, GR Corolla.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see flame shooting out the back.
So is this kind of like Hyundai's N line versus Hyundai's N? Like, is this a GR Sport? Like, it's not quite full GR, but it's still a little spicier than the normal?
Yeah, like philosophically, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some significant upgrades to that GR Sport over a regular one. I mean, first and foremost, it's PHEV only, so you get a little more power with the plug-in hybrid.
A lot of power. Surprising amount of power. It's 320 horsepower, I believe.
Yep.
That's a lot for I don't know how much this thing weighs. I'm sure it's in the stats somewhere that we know, but how that actually feels, I'm not sure. But that's a lot of power for a compact crossover.
Yeah. I mean, so the RAV4 Prime, which became the RAV4 plug-in, that I think made like 301.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody will correct us. So this is a pretty significant bump over that. The last trim, of course, is the rugged one, which is the Woodland. We've seen the Woodland on.
We love a rugged design.
What do they have? The Wood. I know it was on the Sienna. I feel like they've used that on some other models, but it's on the RAV4 now.
Yeah, and in previous years, the rugged version was the Adventure. So that is no longer. The RAV4 Adventure no longer exists. Now it's the RAV4 Woodland, which I'll be honest, I think that's a branding upgrade. The logo for the Woodland, I think it looks super clean. I like the sound of it as you say it.
Oh yeah.
I think Woodland is a home run. I think it looks really good.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of design, I personally am not a fan of the front end of the GR Sport. I think the front end of the RAV4 Woodland looks great.
Yeah.
It keeps more of that older RAV4, 5th gen style, but it adds in some nice elements. It has those kind of like off-roading LEDs within the grille. I like that.
The rigid LEDs.
Yeah, the rigid LEDs. Yeah. Rigid TM. Yeah.
TM.
That's a brand.
That's true. I'm not just describing their rigidity.
Talk to me about the inside, though.
Well,
critique.
So when I said I didn't love the inside, I'm referring to the outgoing.
Oh, okay.
This inside is killer.
Oh.
The previous inside had those big chunky knobs. Just felt a little.
So the question, those big chunky knobs, they did. What was that for? Climate control primarily?
I believe so.
Yeah. All right. So
Each
now the
side
climate
had one.
controls, they're just docked touchscreen buttons on the screen.
Well, there are. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are small buttons for up and down volume. So there is. A lot of the climate is only in the screen.
Yeah.
But there are physical temperature up and down buttons right below the screen. There's a bar right below the screen.
Okay, so you get a little bit of both.
Yeah. You do get a little bit of both. Generally speaking, all of us on this side of the industry, we complain about AC and HVAC controls
constantly
going into the screen. It's like a constant refrain.
Yeah.
When we see a row of buttons, we're very happy. However, while they do move a lot of the AC controls into the screen, the fact that at least there's still at least the up and down, because really you set it to auto and then maybe you need to adjust it from there. At least if you're going to have a couple buttons, temperature up and down makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm looking more carefully at this photo now. You're right. So we've got a center volume knob and power button kind of integrated together.
Yeah.
You've got the front defrost, the rear defrost, and then you have hard buttons for increasing or decreasing the temperature, but then there's things like, the actual number readout that's on the screen, heated seats, fan speed, the auto and sync buttons, recirc, that's all in the screen.
Right.
But I mean, I'm rarely changing that stuff while driving. A lot of times I get in, I set it, or honestly, I'll like set the temperature, hit auto, and just let it do its thing.
I'm a big auto setter.
Yeah. My wife does not really do auto. The
mine.
fan spools up and she immediately turns it down.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that do that, though.
The fan's spooling up for a reason.
Yeah.
Well,
so I love her. I love I love auto temperature, and it's nice that if they are going to take away the buttons, we still have the temp up and down.
Yeah.
And we have a volume knob, which is nice. And this screen, big update from the previous screen.
Yeah. Well, how big is that? Do we know? Is that 14 inches?
I believe the base one, and check me on this, I believe the base one is 12 and the upgraded one is 14.
I'm seeing 10 and a half infotainment with a 12.9 inch upgrade. So we're not getting the 14 inch that you see in the Tundra, but this isn't the size of a Tundra.
No, and frankly, I'm in the Tacoma now, and I think I have the 14-inch screen. I'm gonna say it's too big.
Oh yeah,
I think some screens are too big, but that's a topic for another conversation. I think 10 and a half, that's a big screen.
Yeah,
the screen I currently have is 6 inches.
Remember when
this is almost double that.
Remember when our computer monitors were square, or our TVs were square?
I remember the TVs.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever had a laptop that was square.
Oh, I had my monitor at the job before CarGurus.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was
the monitors were square. Absolutely,
it was just weird.
Hey, we're in a 16:9 society now.
Oh, it's so cinematic.
Lovely. So
okay, no, after you.
I was just gonna go back to the interior. It's really, I think, really sharp looking. I don't know how much the interior changes from trim to trim, as the exterior is pretty different outside. At least the fronts are pretty different. But the interior has those kind of big, I guess where those knobs were that I didn't love, they're now kind of like fancy, shiny buttons that do drive modes, and there's an EV mode button.
I think that's got to be specific to the PHEV.
Well,
I would think
hybrids. The Camry has an EV mode button.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, I think it's like under 25 miles an hour. You can tell it to stick on electric. Yeah.
When you're creeping up on people,
it takes over after that. But I know on the Limited is this picture here. The shifter is that tiny little nub shifter.
Yeah.
Which people sometimes don't love. I believe the Woodland has a big chunky hand size.
Yeah, because it's
shifter.
outdoorsy.
Yeah, you got to be rugged.
Yeah.
With a hand shifter.
Place to rest your hand, right? Don't do that. Powertrain is, I think, one of the bigger updates. So the hybrid makes a little more power. So we've got 226 horsepower on the front wheel drive models. All wheel drive gets a little extra power, 236. As you noted, the PHEVs, 320 horsepower. I mean, who is this car for? I mean, the RAV4 has been purchased by literally millions of people. Yeah, so like if you've got a couple of kids or a dog, you don't need kids. You don't need kids or a dog. You
don't need them. And maybe think hard if you want them. But the RAV4 seems to be everything to all people. And now they're really segmenting this in the core. That's going to be the everyday buyer.
Yeah.
I bet you the core is going to be the top seller. The Woodland is that like every brand needs their rugged style. Yeah. Subaru has the Wilderness. Hyundai has the XRT. Nissan has the Rock Creek, so on and so forth. So now Toyota has the Woodland, which again looks great.
And something then sporty too.
The sport design, the GR, it's like somebody who wants a GR Corolla but has some kids.
Yeah.
Maybe they want that style.
Yeah. I wouldn't put kids in the backseat of a GR Corolla and drive the GR Corolla the way I want to drive it.
I wouldn't either. So that's why maybe you have a GR Corolla, and then right next to it, you have a GR Sport RAV4.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I think you already said this. The GR Sport is plug-in only.
Yeah.
It's also all-wheel drive only.
Right. The PHEVs are all-wheel drive.
Okay. So the PHEV is always all-wheel drive. The non-plug-in can be either.
Yes, although it might be trim specific.
It is.
So
I see right here.
The rugged Woodland, that's available as a hybrid, but that one is only available with all-wheel drive.
Right. And then the core design, the Limited, is only hybrid. Actually, the core design, the LE, the XLE, and the Limited are all only hybrid. There's no plug-in for the core.
Correct.
and the Limited is only all-wheel drive. The other ones are both.
Yeah. So for those trying to follow along at home, you have the LE and XLE, which are hybrid only and available with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. You have the Limited, which is hybrid only, but available with all-wheel drive exclusively. The Woodland, hybrid or plug-in hybrid, either way, only available with all-wheel drive. And then on the sport end, we have the SE, which is front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive and available with a hybrid. The XSE, which is all-wheel drive only and available, oh man, this is really complicated, available with a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. And then the GR Sport, which is all-wheel drive only and PHEV only.
I don't know if you've spent much time on Toyota builder sites.
Oh boy,
there's a lot of options.
Just
and
cool
a lot.
Down. There's a product manager out there somewhere who's just like, listen, we've done all the segmentation, and it's exhausting. Like I'm sure there's the perfect buyer for each one of these trims, but for the rest of us, it's exhausting.
Yeah. That's complicated enough.
Yeah.
There's one level more complication, and it's regarding the plugins, the charging standard.
Oh, right. This is very interesting.
It gets kind of weird. For the plug-in hybrids, there are 2 different charge ports.
Yeah, because why not?
Because why not? Yeah. We're already segmenting it so much. So there is the level 2 J1172.
Yeah.
And then there's also the faster CCS, DC charging.
And now what, for the lay people, for our people, my people.
I had to do some research.
What does this mean?
So the J1772 is a slower standard.
Also the name of my next kid.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask, what's his kid's name?
J1772.
But then the CCS basically takes that port and adds DC addition right below it. Yeah. So, but the confusing part or the interesting part is which trims get which one. Mm-hmm. So maybe what's going to be the most expensive one, the GR Sport, we don't know. That's a guess. But the GR Sport, which is plug-in hybrid only, gets the slower charging standard.
Well, they didn't want it to be too expensive.
Well, so talk to that. Why is that simply the answer? Is it everything else on this car is expensive? Let's choose the slower port.
It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It's weird.
It's one of those situations where, and like, we're not automotive product planners.
No,
we're not making the decisions.
No,
here.
We are not.
But I'm sure financially, they're trying to keep it below a certain threshold. Sure. Maybe it's going to end up being like $49,995, and they need their margin.
Yeah.
So they said, well, where can we trim a little cost? And I guess it was the port. Who knows? Maybe there's something more complicated. It might be an engineering related thing. But yeah, the GR Sport gets the J1772, and the SE also gets that. But the other ones, the XSE and the Woodlands, get a CCS charging port.
Yeah. Odd. Because Woodlands, we expect to be expensive. GR Sport, we expect to be expensive. I mean, all of them are expensive. But different charge ports for those. Seems odd. However, it's a plug-in hybrid, so the batteries aren't huge, so you don't need the breakneck charging speed that like a full EV needs and also has, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We don't know pricing.
Yeah.
On almost any of the stuff we're going to be talking about today, we don't know pricing. In our notes and in the preview that Mark put together for us, he references that the price is expected to be competitive with the CR-V hybrid, which is starting at $35,000. Okay, so that makes sense. Toyota, or the RAV4, even the lowest model, is a hybrid, so that it would compete with a CR-V hybrid makes sense. However, the CR-V offers non-hybrid gas only at a much lower price.
Yes.
Closer to 30. I'm not sure exactly what it is at the moment.
I'm going to look it up.
This being the most purchased car in America in 2024 and third most in the world, how does raising the price that considerably, what do you think that's going to do to the average person? I mean, if let's say it was 29 or 30 before, now the new one starts at 35. That's a big jump, even though justifiable, probably. That's a big jump to the average person who's looking to upgrade their old RAV4.
Yeah. So as I think we said at the top, every time there's a new generation, prices go up a little bit. The 2025 Honda CR-V the Honda 2025 Toyota RAV4 in base trim was available at like just over $30,000.
Okay.
And that was with a non-hybrid, all gas powertrain. 2026 Honda CRV. So we have pricing on the 2026 now. That one's $32,315 for the all gas. So already like that's a little more expensive there.
Yeah.
But the hybrid CRV, 2026 CRV is closer to 37. It's quite a bit more expensive. If the RAV4 is moving up into the 34, 35, 36, maybe $37,000 mark for a starting price.
Yeah.
If there's a $5,000 delta between the cheapest CRV and the cheapest RAV4, even if the RAV4 is way more fuel efficient, I think they're going to see some conquesting from Honda. And like Toyota has a pretty big sales lead right now. It's almost like 75,000 units per year, at least based on 2024 data. But I could see that lead eroding significantly if the RAV4's price jumps as high as I and you and Mark Takahashi, love you, Mark, as we think it might.
Right. And that number, that $35,000 estimate, that's our assumption.
Yeah.
I don't believe we were told that by anybody at Toyota, and they haven't released pricing. So that disclaimer. But yeah, I mean, I love hybrids, and obviously Toyota does too. Everything they make has a hybrid for the most part. And it makes sense that hybrid, the next car I get, I want it to be a hybrid, likely. But I want to make that choice myself. If I have $30,000 to spend, that means the RAV4 is no longer on my list.
Yeah.
Then I got to look at
dollars and cents.
Yeah. So
stick to the budget.
I do think this car is going to sell gangbusters.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. It looks good.
I mean, it's a RAV4.
It's a RAV4, but
they're going to make their money.
They're going to make their money. So last thing on the RAV4, the core, the rugged, the sport. Which look are you taking home?
The rugged.
The rugged?
Come on.
Yeah.
You know it's the rugged. I got the
knew
shirt on today.
I know. I think the rugged looks really cool. But the sport looks cool too. I don't like that spoiler on the sport. It seems a little cheesy.
Spoilers on an SUV are generally a little weird. I think it helps our generation, the previous generation of Forester, helps a lot. But in general, I'm like, who are we kidding?
We're going to talk now about the full EVs that Toyota has announced. Some new, some revamped, but we're going to talk about the BZ, the BZ Woodland, and the CHR.
More Woodland.
More Woodland,
They're leaning into
really
this.
going in. Wilderness, pulling at Toyota's sales, maybe. I don't know.
Let's start at the beginning.
At the beginning. Does that mean the BZ for you?
I think it means the BZ.
Let's talk BZ.
So I'm curious. Do you see any? Does this car remind you of something?
Well, Matt, it does.
You don't say.
Believe it or not, we launched this podcast just a few short weeks ago, talking a lot about the brand new Solterra from Subaru, and we liked a lot of the changes. We liked what they did. We liked the things that they changed, inside and out, and under the hood. And this is now the Toyota sibling.
Essentially the same car.
It's the same car. In our document, I don't know if you made it there. I put some mock-ups together with the Solterra and the BZ next to each other, so we can see how both of them look together.
Look at this.
And I will be putting them up on screen.
Did you do the work?
I did some work.
You did the work.
But yeah, so the BZ. It's a name change too. As of last year, it was the BZ4X, which is a name everybody loved.
Right. That's actually going to be the name of my third child.
Hey, you're big plans. Kim, I hope you're ready. Sorry if you didn't want me to say her name.
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, good. Anyway, so it used to be the BZ4X. I don't think a lot of people love that name, so they have simplified it to the BZ.
Yeah.
Still has 4 wheels. I don't know what the X was.
It was supposed to be like Beyond Zero 4, maybe 4 doors, maybe 4.
Okay.
It was available with front wheel drive, but I think there was like a size signifier.
Okay.
So like around the world, I think in China, et cetera, you can buy like a BZ3X.
Oh, can you?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So this was a global plan.
Okay.
And the States just didn't have the appetite for a array of electric vehicles from Toyota to the same degree that they had a appetite for hybrid vehicles, for PHEVs from Toyota. So the brand leaned more into the hybrids and less into the BZ line. Looking at the two of these cars, obviously they're very similar. I think it is fascinating that even the wheel designs are identical on this mock-up that we have. I do think the BZ, not the BZ4X, I think the BZ is better looking.
I do too. The front end, so from the profile view, which is right here, identical. Nearly identical.
Yep.
It's only when you are looking straight on or off to the side a little bit of the front and the rear that you see the differences. The front end, I think, is the biggest difference.
Oh, yeah.
Subaru has their logo with the little cutout, like almost like the iPhone notch, where the logo lives. Toyota looks a little more, I mean, the thing about Toyota, they've really leaned into this really thin, sharp, angled
you see
DRL.
it's on the Camry.
It's on everything.
Yeah.
The Prius, the Camry, now the RAV4.
Yeah. We call that a unified design language.
And I think they call it the Hammerhead something, whether it's the Hammerhead theme or, but that word kept coming up. So I love the way I really like that styling. I think it's really sharp and it stands out. And on this, I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, it does look nice. Now this vehicle, so just like the Solterra, we're looking at 338 horsepower in all-wheel drive models. There are two battery sizes. A smaller one, 57.7 kilowatt hours. The larger one is 74.7 kilowatt hours. And the range up to 314 miles, which is a huge increase over the previous gen BZ4X.
And we have to assume that's the big battery front-wheel drive.
Yeah, so it used to be like, I would only recommend a BZ4X if you were really loyal to Toyota and you weren't going to drive this car on many road trips because it charged slowly. It didn't have a super long range.
Yeah.
Now it charges a lot faster, just like the Solterra. It goes almost 50% almost, 25%? I wouldn't do the math.
8% further.
It goes a lot further than it did
further.
before. I think this works for a lot of potential EV shoppers.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a fringe case anymore. This looks like a mass market option.
Yeah. And the big difference between the Solterra and the BZ is that the BZ comes in front or all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
The Solterra is only all-wheel drive.
Oh, it's a Subaru.
Yeah. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Yeah. Now, it's not the only BZ that we've got on this month of announcements from Toyota. And I'm embarrassed to say that when I first saw the BZ Woodland, I said, oh, now that's interesting. Look at this. Okay, so Toyota's making their own additional EV.
Yeah.
It wasn't until this morning that I realized that it's just a Subaru Trail Seeker.
You know what?
Yeah, we're doing it live.
You know what? I don't think I put that together either.
Yeah.
Because I did this whole thing where I put the Solterra and the BZ next to each other. I didn't even think about the Trail Seeker.
It's the same story.
Oh my gosh.
So if you are thinking, if you want a Subaru EV and you want a four-door kind of notchback, smaller city SUV, they've got the BZ for you. Or excuse me, if you want a Subaru, they've got the Solterra for you. If you want something that's bigger, more Outback shaped, you know, a little more practical, they've got the Trail Seeker. If you want those same exact options, but you are loyal to Toyota, you've got the BZ and you've got the BZ Woodland. So 375 horsepower from combined system output. The electric driving range on the Woodland and on the Trail Seeker, it's a lot less. It's only 260 miles, but DC fast charging capability. Down to 30 minutes potentially to go from 10 to 80%. You know, you need the right charger in the right conditions. I really like this one as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Trail Seeker. I thought the name was ridiculous. Still think the name's ridiculous. But I think the BZ Woodland it looks really cool.
It's really sharp.
Yeah.
I'm on record saying that I some of Subaru's new designs I'm not in love with, but I think this looks really good. I really like the front ends on the new Toyotas. I think that's what it comes down to, is I really like those sharp angled DRLs. And I think it looks really nice on an EV, because sometimes EVs can go a little far looking electric. And I think this looks...
Well, and the BZ, one of the differences visually from the new Solterra is the Solterra seems like a lot cleaner on the sides. The BZ has a lot more of that creasing, those character lines. And on the compact shape, I don't think they work as well, but you stretch it out. And on the Woodland, I think it looks really good. It's like a mix of like an Outback meets a Camry with the cool new lights. I see Sienna a little bit in the profile, which is a good thing, in my opinion. I think
we're fans of the Sienna here.
Magnificent beast.
We are Sienna fans. Yeah, it looks so... I don't love the 2026 Outback. I'm not a huge fan of the Minecraft
Outback
car, as you called it. But this to me reads current gen 2025 Outback a lot, and which I really like that car. So I'm into this. And I actually, what I thought you were going to say when you were looking at the BZ Woodland, like, is this just a trim of the BZ? Which I think that's a complication. Again, they're kind of complicating things because this is a different model.
Yeah.
It reads as if it's a BZ, but it's the Woodland edition.
Yeah.
Much in the way that the RAV4 is the RAV4 Woodland.
So
same model, different trim.
If you go on CarGurus and you want to read about these, you're going to look up Toyota BZ, hit enter. Or you're going to do Toyota BZ Woodland, separate model.
Yeah.
We're listing these as separate models.
Because they are. It's a little bit odd that they're not differentiating these at all. And it's not
There's got to be other. I mean, they do the same thing with Corolla Cross.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And additionally, it's not like the BZ is the electric vehicle. Because there's a third one we're going to talk about.
There is.
That is not
back,
BZ
baby.
at all. It's the CHR.
Yeah.
But I don't want to move on too quickly because one thing, and this is actually true for all three of these full EVs from Toyota, NACS charging standard.
Oh, yeah. Big deal.
That is the Tesla charger that now it seems like most EVs are adopting.
Yeah. So the actual port, charging port on the car is the same port that you would find on a Tesla, which means that you can use the Tesla superchargers. And for anyone who owns an EV or is thinking about an EV, driving around looking for, that bank of 3 or 6 CCS chargers from EVgo or Electrify America, they're making more of them.
but there's still more.
And I feel like it's constantly like there's like 3 CCS chargers.
Yeah.
And then there's a bank of like 16 Tesla chargers. So the NACS port availability on these cars is going to make it so much easier to charge these on the go.
Yeah.
And they're selling it with an adapter. So
Sure.
you can still use a CCS level 3 or level 3 DC fast charger.
Yeah.
But you've got more options.
Yeah. Which that can only help the consumer. Because for so long, and my own personal take is that it's just, there's not enough comfort knowing that there's going to be a charger where you need it to be.
Yeah.
So having more access to more chargers can only be a good thing.
More chargers.
Not for Tesla owners, because they're probably not happy that their exclusive
they have to share.
Tesla chargers are now going to have Fords, Hyundais, Hondas, and Toyotas at them too.
Rivians.
Rivians.
We used
That's true.
Yeah,
we did.
used one.
We did. Check out that review. The last thing, and if you don't know or you don't want to talk about it, tell me. Plug-in charge capability. What does that mean? It's noted as an issue. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so
Not an issue, a feature.
let's say like a year and a half ago, you had a we'll say a Subaru Solterra or it's a Toyota BZ4X on loan. You'd get to the charger and it was like it's always a different charger with its own app, and you'd have to like scan the barcode or like enter the number on your phone and like hope it connects, and like just everything had to work right in order for it to charge the car and frankly for you to get billed properly.
Sure.
Now, a lot of automakers are using these apps where all of the chargers, like all those systems are built into the app. You just go up. I don't know if you scan a QR code or you just plug it in. But the idea is essentially you just plug in the car, it starts charging. It's like pumping gas. It's not like, downloading the latest patch for your Windows PC.
As you would know.
Yeah.
Well, I am a
represent.
I'm a Mac user. I don't know these Windows issues.
It's, just PC. It's the best.
Okay, so that's plug and charge.
Justin Long's not that cool.
I mean, he's one of the good ones. I hope that's still true.
You never know.
You never know. As of now, I think he's one of the good ones. So ultimately, it gives the consumer more options and more safety, knowing that if they're on the road, they can get a charge.
Yeah,
in a simple way.
Better ease of use, more chargers. Frankly, if EVs are going to succeed in the United States, charging infrastructure is key, and like more so than it is in Denmark, because we got bigger roads. Let's acknowledge that.
And longer distances to travel.
Yeah, if I want to visit my parents, it's 100 miles each way, which means in most EVs, I either needed a full battery and just nerves of steel coming home, particularly in the winter, or I needed a charging location somewhere along the way. And for the longest time, they're up in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire. For the longest time, my only options were Tesla superchargers. And I would look at these and say, well, I guess I'm not going to see mom and dad this weekend. But now I can use those Tesla superchargers. Yeah. And that's good for me. It's good for you. It's good for my parents. It's good for Cooper, the dog. He's always excited to see me.
Oh, that's your parents' dog.
Yeah, shout out Cooper. All right.
Hey, Cooper, thanks for watching.
No jumping.
I know there are some people that like play a podcast to let their dog like feel like there's somebody at home. So I would suggest if you're heading out for the day, just put the driveway on.
Dogs
love us.
Yeah.
Okay. So the third of 3 EVs, like I said, it's not an EV name, the BZ, because we have the CHR, the 2026 CHR is the third full EV that Toyota has announced. And where does the CHR fit? We don't know pricing yet. Again, we don't know pricing. Where does the CHR fit among the BZs? Is the CHR the entry level or is the BZ the entry level?
I do not know. It seems very similar size. I think they're trying to go for like sort of a sportier look, sportier dynamic with the CHR, the name CHR. So this is the second time we've seen this nameplate. The first time around, it was on what I quite frankly believe to be like one of the 5 worst vehicles in the last 20 years. Just like extremely few redeeming qualities. It was like ostensibly a crossover, but it was small. Yeah. It was tough to get in and out of. It was front wheel drive only. The engine was an absolute dog. Now it's a significantly better looking vehicle. It's an EV. Great. It's powerful. I think it's the best glow up we have seen. I don't know who's had a really big glow up.
Justin Long?
I mean, he was good in Barbarian. Big surprise. Anyways, I'm a big fan of the CHR now. The name, when it arrived in its first iteration, of which we shall speak no longer, it was short for Coupe High Rider.
Okay. It's nice knowing that the numbers and letters mean something.
Yeah,
this is now the second time you've explained what these just random numbers mean. So thank you.
You know, somebody has to listen to their marketing departments. So I think that name though, Coupe High Rider, like high riding coupe, that indicates kind of the design, the style that they're going for. This is something a little sportier. Electric range is up to 290 miles. Power is 338 horsepower. It's all-wheel drive. Again, coupe-like SUV profile. The battery is 74.7 kilowatt hours, so I imagine it's the same battery as you get in the larger version of the BZ.
And that's one of the reasons why I ask, because the CHR, to me, when I look at the images, and I'm not looking at the BZ next to the CHR feels entry-level.
Very similar.
Compared to the BZ. However, the BZ has the smaller battery. The CHR only has the bigger battery with more power. So that tells me it's not the entry.
It could be the BZ is more the entry level. Honestly, I think it's just styling.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to see what gets people going. Toyota, it's not a secret that they struggle to sell these BZs.
Yeah.
I think every automaker needs to have the good college try in the EV market, and they're trying to get their footing. So frankly, the more options the consumer has, the better. It also means that we get to drive more cars and write more reviews, which I'm sure if anyone from Toyota is listening, they will send us a BZ and a CHR. We will drive over, we will write a review, we'll do a video. You can find them on CarGurus.com right before you decide to shop on CarGurus.com.
Matt, doing the Lord's work here.
I'm just trying. You know, I got to keep a job.
The CHR, it looks good. It has that same hammerhead design language, the sharp DRLs. It doesn't have a light bar across the front like the BZ, which implies its trim segmentation maybe a little bit. I think it looks nice though. I'm really interested when we can see pricing on all this stuff.
Yeah,
because that's the big question. But
I mean, I imagine whether it's the CHR or the BZ, we're probably going to see a starting price in either the $40,000 to $45,000 range, or if we're lucky, maybe high 30s.
Yeah, we need to get that down for the average buyer. Me, I'm not spending $40,000.
The average vehicle transaction price is close to $50,000.
I know, and so it's projected to go up.
We're getting more EVs. Yeah. I mean, we have an article on CarGurus. You can read it now. I'm sure we'll put a link in the description about the best EVs or all EVs priced under $40,000. Yeah. That list grows. Every year we do this list, it gets longer.
I love also when you make a note, like you're talking to the audience, you look to the cameras and not at me, like you're professing.
Yeah.
Good job.
You're not my audience.
No, I hear enough of you.
You haven't listened to me in years.
Last thing on these, they all have very, I don't want to say identical, very similar looking infotainment screens. They're all big screens, and they all have that Lexus. It was originally on the Lexus where the volume knobs had the screen inside the knob, which I love. I think is awesome.
Yep.
And they're on all three of these. But they also, all three have that kind of weird driver display that's like closer to the windshield, further away. For me, I was in the BZ4X, and it didn't really, I couldn't get it in a place where I was comfortable. And I'm hoping, everyone's sized differently. But I could not get the wheel and the seat into a comfortable place with the BZ4X.
It's been a challenge. And I think that's why we were seeing, you get the yoke wheels from some automakers. Toyota, I believe, offered a yoke or the Lexus, I should say, on the RZ. I was just in the Ford Expedition, the 2025 Ford Expedition, which has a big, beautiful driver information display. It's mounted a little higher, and in order to see it, they gave it this squircle, this square circle sized wheel. Very strange in a car the size of an Expedition. Yeah. But I think something like that would probably work really well in these Toyotas with their weird driver displays.
Not to go too long on this segment. However, you bringing that up reminded me the Solterra. If you look back at the comparison, the Solterra does have a squircle wheel, whereas the BZ, its brother, sister, sibling car, has a standard round wheel. Yeah. So that is one of the differences with the Solterra. And I wonder.
So there you go.
I wonder what that's going to feel like.
If you're looking for a reason, a way to decide, just do it based on the wheel. Which one feels better?
I mean,
I like that they both
that's your main entry. Like, that's the thing that you're touching.
Do these cars all have dual wireless charging pads?
It looks like all the EVs do. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but let me check.
That's pretty cool.
It looks like they do.
Yeah.
Let's see if the CHR does.
Oh, CHR does.
CHR does. So that tells me, yes, they all have dual.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It's a new era. Okay. Those were the EVs.
They're just hat tip one more time to Toyota. Having the gumption and the courage to bring back the CHR name. It didn't go well the first time around. But I've got high hopes for this one. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of the sloping coupe style SUVs. If you're do you want an SUV or do you not?
Yeah.
But I think this one looks good, and I'm all for progress.
Progress at all costs.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So those the RAV4, the EVs, those were the big news. Those were the new things. None of the things that we're going to talk about now are new, but they are updated. They are kind of cool additions.
Yep.
Should we just go 8-6-1 with the dates? May 8th, May 6th, May 1st?
Oh, no. Let's go in the other direction.
The other direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not ready for that.
First, we're going to talk briefly. I don't know how brief. We'll see how brief it is. The Camry is getting a new edition, the Nightshade edition.
So, I mean, there's not a ton to go on here. The Camry has been a strong selling car. I really like driving the Camry.
I do too.
I keep seeing them around, and I have a Honda Accord, which I really like. And I keep seeing them around being like, oh man, is the Camry better looking than my car? I think it is. I think it's a good looking car. And the Nightshade edition, I mean, if you're into it, only adds to the looks. You've got the dark wheels, you've got the dark mirror caps, blacked out Toyota badging. It's black door handles. It looks really good. We've got a photo of one in red that's it's outside a storefront that just says music. Yeah, it's really sets
that's where I do
really
my music shopping
at
the music store.
Yeah. You can listen to music on Spotify, where you can also find this podcast.
You do all the marketing for us. I'm just going to cut that out and share it. I'm on record. I like the black edition, right? The Hyundai, it was the calligraphy black edition. I don't need to go through a lot of vehicles have the black edition where it does this blackening the wheels, the trim, and I like it.
Yeah, no, I think it looks really good. And the Camry itself, I mean, if you're good with the sedan packaging, which I think more people should be, drives really well, available in front wheel drive or all wheel drive. You've got hybrids on all the Camrys now. It's a hybrid only vehicle, which means fuel economy up to 51 miles per gallon. The Nightshade edition, it takes all of that good stuff and just makes it cooler.
Yeah, and it's a cool name.
Yeah.
I think Toyota's doing a great job with their names. Woodland Edition, Nightshade. It's kind of cool.
We've had these names for a little bit now.
Well, I'm talking about it now.
I'll tell you, we've seen Nightshade Edition on so many different Toyotas. When they emailed me, they said, "Hey, we've got some news.
Yeah.
We hope you'll share it with your audience, who we care about,
which
so much.
We're doing.
We're doing the work.
We're doing the work."
And they said, "But it's under embargo. We to level the playing field. We don't want you to share this until this certain date, and then everybody can hear about it." So inside baseball, that's how the news works these days. So I said, "Sure. Oh yeah, very excited. Oh, what could the news be? Toyota. They've got so many different products. Could it be a new Supra? Could be a new SUV? Could it be a new Tundra? What could it be?" And they said, "Okay, here it is. It's a new Camry Nightshade Edition." And I was like,
very exciting.
And that's how we started. That's how we started this.
That was the first announcement.
Yeah. It's all uphill from there. The next up was what I think, in terms of making good practical cars just look a lot cooler. The new Corolla Hatchback's FX trim. This thing.
It's so cool looking.
The photo that we have of this one. Now, it's not in front of the music store, but it looks sick.
Yeah.
These white painted wheels, you can get it available in orange. What do they call this? They call this Inferno is the paint color. The Corolla Hatchback, it falls behind the competition in a lot of very practical senses. It's a little smaller. It's not typically like the most dynamic driving vehicle. Mm-hmm. But I think with these wheels and this paint job, I think it is now the coolest looking hatchback in its class.
It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
You said it, this bright orange paint with the white wheels. You don't see white wheels. You never see white wheels.
Not on a car like this.
I mean,
Nissan did them on the Frontier Hardbody edition.
Yeah.
You see them every once in a while. Land Rover had them on a Defender. They look really cool here.
Yeah. I remember that Defender, white wheels for sure. Yeah. But yeah, those were kind of like steely. Like these are spokes. Like they're real wheels.
Yeah, they look really
sweet. Cool. And not in front of a music store, but it is in front of a record store. A cool pop-up record store.
I'm looking at a different photo than you are. That's okay.
Leaning into what the consumer wants.
Yeah.
Cool people buy records, and they also buy Corolla Hatchback FXs.
Yeah.
Where does the FX name come from?
No idea.
Okay.
Wait, no, I do. It's a reminiscent of the original FX16 from the 80s, which if I Google now, FX16.
I have a picture Corolla here next to the original.
Oh, cool.
FX.
Yeah. It was an old Corolla. I knew nothing about this.
That's okay. But you're now seeing it, so you were seeing what we were seeing.
Yeah.
Pretty
cool reissue of an article by Car and Driver on their website. Just throwing some love to our friends over at C&D.
C&D.
Practical hatchback, not the most fuel efficient. I think it's like 31 miles per gallon. It's not a hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
They do have a Corolla crossover now, the Corolla Cross, which is available as a hybrid, and those get refreshed as well for the year. Kind of new look inside and out, but powertrain there remains the same. I did not think that the Corolla was the best feeling. Corolla Cross was the best feeling car that I had driven, so I'm excited to get some seat time in this one, see if the interior materials have really improved. I think the hybrid in particular, the front end of it looks really cool with this kind of mesh grille.
It really references like the Crown Signia grille.
Yeah.
And also the new RAV4, the core models have that kind of body matched mesh kind of texture.
Yeah.
The previous Corolla Cross came in gas and hybrid, but there was no visual differentiation on those except for the badging, right?
There was. Yeah, the Corolla Cross hybrid had a very different looking face.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're continuing the differentiation.
I preferred the face of the old Corolla Cross with the gas engine over the hybrid. Now it's reverse. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this Corolla Cross hybrid looks really sharp. And I guess that's why Toyota can make the RAV4 hybrid only starting at 35, because the Corolla Cross is in there, gas only, probably starts below 30 for the
smaller.
But
so that's a good point.
That's how things go.
A lot of times you'll have a vehicle like the RAV4 and it's got so much name recognition, brand equity, and people just go for the RAV4.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the RAV4 and you're saying, I like that it's a hybrid. I think it looks really cool. Great new design, but it's a little outside my budget.
Too much. Yeah.
Test drive the smaller option, because the Corolla Cross is still a pretty spacious little crossover. I mean, for my life, it would be fine.
Yeah.
This is similar to like if you're going to drive a Highlander, also drive what's just under the Highlander? Crown Signia. Drive a Crown Signia too.
Yeah, we last reviewed the Corolla Cross Hybrid in 2023. Natalie did that review. I thought it was perfectly serviceable. It wasn't exciting.
It's not exciting.
It was not exciting at all, but it was a fine vehicle.
Yeah. Well, that's just the spiciest way to end this podcast. But since we finally found a fine vehicle.
But like now it's a little more than fine. Now it looks really modern and current. And I really like the new look of the Corolla Cross.
A lot of times these refreshes, they can take something that was a good idea and just a little lackluster, and they can add a little bit of that pop that takes it from being a good vehicle to being a fine vehicle. An okay vehicle to a fine vehicle.
I like that. Yeah. I like that. So people, fans, listeners, dogs, thank you for listening. Matt, thank you for podcasting with me. Like I mentioned previously, Mark has done walkarounds of some of these vehicles that should be available on YouTube now, and if they're not there, they will be shortly.
And we'll have written coverage on CarGurus where you'll also be able to see those videos.
Yes, and those are already up, so just head over to CarGurus.com, click around under that research tab, and once you do some research, shop for some cars. And also, YouTube.com is where all of our video content lives. We got something for you everywhere. Everywhere you want to go, we got something for you.
It's been great to be here.
It's been great to be here.
Thank you, Toyota, for making May the month of Toyota.
Yeah.
This is great.
Toyota's big month.
I guess my question is, Woodland or Trail Seeker? Just based on the name.
Woodland.
Yeah.
For me, it's Woodland.
It's got to be Woodland.
The Woodland icon is really cool.
It's cool.
I like it.
Yeah. Love a good Subaru.
Love a good yeah. As we both know. Okay. We're going to end it there. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Matt. Have a great week.
Thank you.